Hello. Our today's topic is about the IUCN and Red Data Book. Let's talk about this one. So we know that what is the IUCN. Okay. Uh, as I discussed in the earlier uh, slides, that IUCN is actually a union, international level of union, which maintain the data and do work for the conservation of the nature and the natural resources, okay, areas. Okay, so this is the it is a union. Okay, let's see. So IUCN, International Union for Conservation of Nature and Natural Resources. Okay, its logo is this one. You can see here. It is written as C and IUCN is written there side. Actually, we are talking about the threatened wildlife. That's why we are discussing the IUCN Trade Data Book and their categories. Okay. So, what are the threatened wildlife? First, I am coming to this one, and then I will come again to the IUCN. So you can easily understand that what is the uh, basic concept and the reason to talk about this topic. So, threatened wildlife, if numbers are few than the normal, okay, fewer than the normal. And second, habitat are constructed with the disturbances. Okay, it may be of kind of fragmented or destroyed. So if these two things are happening, then IUCN counts the number and do the activity accordingly. Okay, that's why its name is International Union for Conservation. Conservation of what? Nature and natural resources, both. So that's why they are taking care of the fauna, flora, as well as habitat. Okay. Now coming back to the IUCN. IUCN is a membership union for government and civil society organizations. So it is actually working coordinately with both of them, civil society as well as government. Together, we work. Yeah, I took this line as it is from the IUCN uh, website and about the IUCN what the subdocument page. So I took that line from there so that you can easily understand that what actually they do. So IUCN is a membership union of government and civil society organizations. Together we work. We means here we it's the union of the government and civil society work for advance sustainable development and create a just world that values and conserve the nature. So that is the main work or main purpose of the IUCN. IUCN was created in 1948. More than 1,400 member organizations and 15,000 experts are working in this institution. 160 plus countries are involved in this, and IUCN member organizations set the direction of the union's framework and global conservation efforts. More broadly, every 4 years at the IUCN World Conservation Congress is held. Okay. So every 4 years there is a large congress or meeting is held of the when where all the member countries are coming together and they set the directions, okay, and do efforts for the conservation, okay, and also they are publishing uh, its report every 4 years, okay, which is the red data book. I'll talk about that later. Its vision, a view, sorry, a just world that value and conserve the nature. So this is the its vision and mission. If we see, then we will find influence, encourage, and assist to whom society to conserve the integrity and diversity of nature and ensure that any use of natural resources is equitable and ecological sustainable. So this is the mission of the IUCN. Current program which is going on by the under the IUCN is the Nature 2030. If you see, then you will find 2030. So actually 2030 is the year. So there are five priorities and five pathways which are decided by the IUCN. If you see the five priorities, what are these priorities? People, land, water, ocean, and climate. And five pathways to transformative changes are these five are they have decided: recognize, retain, restore, resource, and reconnect. So these are the five pathways. Important publications by the IUCN are the red list of the threatened species, and one more list is there, which is the green list. Actually, generally, many of the people are thinking that IUCN only publishes the red list. No, IUCN publishes red list as well as green list. Red list is for the threatened species, while green list is for the protected and conserved areas. Okay. Now coming to the red data book. So what is the red data book? Red data book or red list? Red list, the or the IUCN red list of the threatened species. Its logo is this one. Here you can see IUCN logo is also written this, and palm is there, and red list is written there. Okay, so this is a logo of the IUCN's red list. Okay, now and this is the website of the IUCN red list. Now see, established in 1964. IUCN was established in 1948 and IUCN's red list was established in 1964. The International Union for Conservation of Nature red list of the threatened species has evolved to become the world's most comprehensive information source on what? On the global extinction risk status of animals, plants, fungus, okay, and all these. If you see the current status or report, then you will find that there are lots of species are categorized in different uh, categories, which we will talk on later on. And more than 42,100 species are threatened with extinction. If you see all the extinction species and threatened species, then you will find that there are 14,100 species are there. That is still 28% of all assessed species. How many species are assessed till now? 1,50,388. If you see the extinction species out of them, then 42,100 out of the 1,50,388. So you will get that 28% species are extinct or under threatened condition nowadays. And goal of this IUCN is about the assessment of the species is around 1,60,000. They are trying to assess 1,60,000. It is the goal of IUCN. So if you see, then we will find that there are number of species are here. Okay, sorry. So see here, cycads 69%, amphibians 41%, sharks and rays 37%. These are actually under the threatened category, which I have mentioned here. Sharks and rays 37%, reef coral 36%, conifers 34%, selected crustaceans 28%, mammals 27%, reptiles 21%, and birds 13%. Okay, so these are the some species status which we can see here. Now, see the categories. Okay, IUCN Red List categorize and categories and criteria. So IUCN Red List categories and criteria are involved, intended to be an easily and widely understood system for classifying species at high risk of global extinction, and it divides species into 9 categories. These 9 categories are here. You see, then you will find extinct, extinct in wildlife. These are actually code which are using two-letter code for these categories. Extinct EX1. This is the number one category. Second category is the extinct in wildlife. Sorry, extinct in wild. So this is the EW. Okay. Next is the critically endangered species or critically endangered CR. Endangered EN. Vulnerable VU. Near threatened NT. Least concerned LC. Data deficient DD. And not evaluated also. So there are 9 categories which are decided by the IUC. If you see, then you will find this diagram as well on the IUCN's website. So let's talk about this one. Here you can see uh, if you see all species, then you will find that these are generally, if they are not evaluated, then these are these are classified under the category of NE. Okay, and if they are eligible for the regional assessment, then these are taken under these all categories. Okay, so what is happening that IUCN allows some region to publish their regional list as well. So actually there are two lists. One is the global, second regional. Regional lists are, and they are published by their own region. Okay, like European region. So they are publishing their own list. Okay. So regional list have also authority to publish all these things because they are compiling all these things and then release a global level list. So some categories are not comes under the regional head. So that's why they are differentiated here. So if you see, then eligible for regional assessment. Okay. So if they are not coming under this category, then they are not applicable. They are classified as not applicable. So it will comes under the uh, global status. Okay. If they can be evaluated, then you can see here the many categories are there from extent to the least concern. But they can be evaluated, but data is not sufficient, then it is called as DD or data deficient. So they are classified under data deficient category. Now, see, if data is enormous or adequate or sufficient data is available, which can be counted, then they are counting. Now, every time whenever they are counting, they are also noting down the its risk factor. Okay, risk of the extinction, that at which cost they will be extinct or live. So they are counting the extinction risk. So let's see from lower risk to the higher risk. If least risk is there, then it will be called as least concern. Although there are some more factors which we will discuss on those basis. These all are things uh, called. Okay. So least concern are means they have lowest risk, and that's why they are not comes under the concern category. So that's why these are least concern. Near threatened means they are yet not in the threatened category, but near threatened means they might become under the threatened category in near future. Okay. In threatened category, there are three more categories. First is vulnerable, second endangered, and third is the critical endangered. So these three are most valuable categories. If we have to conserve, then we have to target these categories. If we have to save fauna, flora, and population or biodiversity, then we have to target on the threatened category so that we can achieve something. Not only these, also near threatened and least concern can be used, but these are actually not under the threatened category. That's why they are somewhat safer than the threatened category. But threatened category are at the higher risk. And extinction risk is the highest, means it is beyond the level. Then we can see that regionally extinct means if in a region specific area specific they are extinct, like they are not found in the Indian subcontinent or they are not found in the European subcontinent, might be in one region, but they are found in the another areas, so that globally they are not extinct, but regionally they are extinct in some specific region. So that's why they are comes under the RE category. Okay, regionally extinct. And if they are extinct from the wild, then these are comes under the extinct in the wild or EW category. And they are completely extinct from the wild, bad, never ever can be seen now. So these are comes under extinct or EX category. Here is the highest risk. uh, I can say that nothing is the risk. Actually, this is happened already, and no one is available or live nowadays. So they are completely extinct. So this is the risk factor. On that basis, red data book or red data list is prepared by the IUCN. Let's see its original website and the content so that you can easily understand. Now, see this one. This is the original website, official website of the red list. Okay, you can see here background and history, and you can read the content from here. Everything is given. Okay, you can see here parameter of the life, how the red list is used, their who are their partners, how the committee, and even if you want to take the training and you want to work with the IUCN, then you can also go there through these things. Okay. Now, see the regional red list assessment. If you see, then you will find that these are the publications and these are the category which I have already talked with you. Okay. Actually, these regional guidelines are available in the following IUCN recognized version. These are publishing in the English, Spanish, French, Arabic, and Japanese. So these are the five official languages where in which these are published. Okay. Now, see the summary statistics. If you see the summary statistics, then you will find that the number of species listed in each red list category change each time the IUCN red list is updated, and for each red list update, IUCN provides summary of the number of species in each categories by taxonomic group and by country. Okay. So if you want to see and download the summary statistics, then you can download from here as well. Dynamic red list is always published by the IUCN, so they can be changed. They can change accordingly. Okay, so there are many regions and these species. Everything is given. You can see here index as well as the tables. Many type of the tables are published by them. If you see this graph, then you will find the increase in the number of the species assessed in the IUCN red list of threatened species from 2000 to 2022. Okay, so as I told you that around 42,000 species have been evolved, sorry, have been found extinct or under threatened category out of assessed 1,50,000 around species. Okay, so you can see here this red line is showing the total threatened species, and this blue line is showing the total species which are assessed. And now a time they have decided the 1,60,000 is the target point to be assessed. So these are the different categories. If you see this proportion of the extant species, then you will find the complete status of all these species. So let's see all these things. Okay, so you can find here uh, these categories: extinct in the wild, uh, sorry, critical endangered, okay, and endangered, vulnerable, data deficient, uh, not near threatened, and these are the least concerned. Okay, so here you can see these are actually arranged in the uh, order of uh, threatened. Okay, order of the threatened. Okay, so if you see the cephalopods are at lowest threatened. Okay, because critically uh, endangered species is showing by this red colored line. Okay, so if you see, then as red color line is growing, these are comes under here categories. So we can see that cycads and amphibians are the more critically endangered. There are more number of the critical endangered species are found, and some dicots. Then, if you see, go on the above side, then you will find shark, rays, chimeras, reef-forming corals, conifers, selected crustaceans, mammals, reptiles, selected insects, birds, selected gastropods, selected monofishes, and cephalopods. So all these are under these categories. Okay, so these are the proportion of the extent, means excluding the extinct species in the IUCN red list of the threatened. So that's why these are given here. They are including the least concern, not near threatened, all categories. So you can match the color and you can find the results here. Okay. If you see these things, then you will find that best estimates of the percentage threatened species with the lower and upper estimates for each group are. So here you can see the cycads 69%, 68 to 69%, amphibians 41%, selected icods. Okay, so these are 39%, shark, rays, chimeras 37%, reef forming corals 36%, conifers 34%. Selected crustaceans like the lobster, freshwater crayfishes, freshwater shrimps, these are the 28%. Mammals, 27%. Reptiles, 21%. Selected insects like the dragonfly and damselfly, these are the 16%. Birds, 13%. Selected gastropods like the abelons and conslans, these are the 10%. And selected monofishes, okay, so these selected beneficiaries are 6%. Cephalopods are 1.5%. Okay. So the number of the right of the each bar present on the total number of the extant species assessed for each group. Okay. So that was the summary table, uh, summary chart. Here we can see that there are the number of the tables are given under this category. Okay, so you can see every table for the specific group of organisms. Okay, so table 1A, which is the number of species evaluated in relation to the overall number of the described species and number of threatened species by major groups of the here 1B and all these things. Okay, like 1, 2, 3, 4, and all. So 3 and 4 are the different taxonomy group, like the third is the by kingdom and classes. Okay, and fourth is of the kingdom Animalia. Fourth B is kingdom Plantae. Fourth C about fungi, and fourth D is the Chromista. Okay, so these are the separate lists also as well, and table 5 and 6 are summaries by the country are also given there. Okay, even more number of the tables are there. 7, 8. 8 is actually endemic species. Table 8 is related to the endemic species. If you see the summary, if you want to see the summary statistic, then go to the tables, and then you will find that which table you want to see. So click on that and you will find. So summary statistics here is available. If you want to see the summary statistics of the animalia, like, so I'm clicking here. Okay. And if I want to show see the all animals, then I have clicked here, and here you can find all the groups, taxons, and the number of the their groups are given, that they are under which category. Okay. And here are the category given, like the extinct or extinct in the wild. Okay, subtotal of the extinct or extinct in the wild. Okay, critically endangered means possibly extinct. Okay, and these are the possibly extinct in the wild, critically endangered. So subtotal of the total critically extinct. So you can see that actually number is given by the adding of all these things. Okay, now critically endangered, okay, endangered, vulnerable. So these subtotal of all these three categories is uh, said as threatened species. Okay. Next is the another categories, like the near threatened or the least concerned or data deficient. Okay, so these are the different categories which are given here. Okay, you can see and you can find that which are categories have which, how many numbers. Now I'm coming to the main point, that is the categories. How the categories are listed, that which animal species or which plant species or which fungus species will go under which. So let's discuss this thing. So let's see this thing. So summary of the five criterias. These five criterias are the most important criterias, and these are categorized or these are written as the A to E. So we will discuss these A to E to evaluate if a taxon belongs in an IUCN Red list, threatened category, means critically endangered, endangered, or not. So these five criteria are: first is the population size reduction. Okay. First is the population size reduction. Second, B criteria is the geographical range in the form of either B1 and or B2. Okay. So we will discuss, means this is about the geographical range. Okay. So first is population size reduction. Second is the geographical range, and next, small population size and decline. This is the C. Small population size and decline. Fourth is the very small or restricted population. Okay. And next is the quantitative analysis. So these are the five categories. On those basis, uh, it is decided that which category or which criteria they will come under. Okay, let's see. First is the population size reduction. If you see the population size reduction, then you will find that population size measured over the longer of 10 years or 3 generations. Out of them, anyone longer of the 10 years or 3 generations, based on any of A1 to A4. So A1 to A4, these are the criteria. Let's see the A1. What is the A1? A1 is population reduction. Population reduction observed, estimated, inferred, or suspected. In the past, where the causes of the reduction are are clearly reversible and understood and have ceased. Okay. So, if they are clearly reversible or understood or seized, of what? Population reduction. So this type of the estimation can be done, whether it is estimated, whether it is really count means observed, or whether it is inferred, just inferred from data, or it is just suspected. So any of kind of the number or estimates or observed or suspected or inferred data is there, and a solution is, information is there, and we are saying that this reduction is possible there. Okay, so in that case, the critically endangered species come under the A1 criteria whenever its risk is the more or is equal to or more than 90%, or is equal to or more than 70%, or 70% or more percentage. If it is from, then it will come under the endangered, or 50 or more. If its percentage is there, then it will come under the vulnerable category. Okay, so there are the some based on any of these are the some observations. So if direct observation is there, okay, except A3 category, which we will talk on later on, an index of the abundance appropriate to the taxon. So sometimes abundance is also counted, and a decline in area of the occupancy, which we will discuss in the next B part, geographic range in the form of either B1 or B2. Okay, so occupancy AAO, and extent of the occurrence EO, and or habitat quality. So it can also be discussed the population size reduction. Okay, so decline in the area, and actual or the potential level of the exploitation is there. If exploitation is there, then it will be also comes under this one. And effect of the introduced taxa, hybridization, pathogen, pollutants, competitor, parasites are there. Okay, so these are found that these can be happen. So the on the A1 criteria, critically endangered species are comes under this any species comes under the critically endangered species or criteria whenever its risk is the or reduction is the more 90% or more. If 70% or more is there, then it will come under the endangered criteria, and 50% or more if it is there, then it will come under the vulnerable criteria. Next, population reduction is observed, estimated, inferred, or expected. Every time we are considering all these four factors. Okay, so in the past, where the causes of reduction may not have ceased, or may not be understood, or may not be reversible. Okay, so second one is this: population reduction is projected, inferred, or suspected. Now here we are not saying that observation. Okay, so because we are talking about the future, so to be made in the future up to a maximum 100 years. So if we are talking about the future of the 100 years, then you cannot observe. So just you are projecting or inferring or just suspecting. Okay, so these are your idea, only estimates. Okay, so this cannot be used for the A3. Okay, so this A1 direct observation is not cannot be used for the 100 years. Next, A4. A4, an observed, estimated, inferred, or projected or suspected population reduction where the time period must include both the past and the future. So we are including both up to maximum 100 years of future, and where the causes of reduction may not have ceased, or may not be understood, or may not be reversible. So, if this kind of the risk is available, then comprehensively a 2, 3, and 4, if they are after observing or after estimating or projecting the number, if we found its number is the 80% or more, then we will place that kind of species under the critical endangered criteria. If its risk is the 50% or more, then we will place that under endangered. And if its risk is the 30% and more, then we will place this under vulnerable condition. So simply, if I say in a summary manner, then I can say that population reduction is there. The population size reduction is there. Now, we are observing that if it is reversible, understood, or seized, or have seized, means now reduction will not happen. We have seized, although previously it was. Okay, so this is the criteria A. And if A have a risk of the, if A is showing the its number, and we are measuring the number of longer of 10 years or 3 generations. Okay, so if its number is the more than 90% or more, then it will come under the critical endangered. If its number is 70% or more, then endangered. If it is number is 50% or more, then it will come under the vulnerable. Now second is the A2, A3, and A4. So A2, A3, and A4 are what? A2 is saying that reduction may not have ceased, or understood, or may not be reversible. In the A1, we were talking about that clearly reversible, understood, and have ceased now a time. Okay, but A2 is saying that may not have ceased, may not have, may not be understood, or may not be reversible. Second, third, A3 is saying that population reduction to be made in the future, but currently it is not possible. Okay, and we are expecting the under the 100 years. Okay, or A4 is saying that uh, we are including the both past as well as future, and then we are saying that uh, this cause of the reduction may not have ceased, or may not be understood, or may not be reversible. So we are saying that if we include the past and future up to maximum 100 years, or measuring the longer of 10 years and 3 generations, and then we are expecting for the total 100 years, including the past and future, and then we are saying that it is not possible to seize our time, or it is not possible to understand, or it is not possible to reversible. It will go beyond that. So this will come under these three threatened category according to the percentage. If it is showing the number 30% and more, then come under the vulnerable category, and 50% and more, then come under the endangered category, and its number is 80% and more, then it will come under the critical endangered. Okay, so these are the criterias whenever we are talking about the population risk, population size reduction. Now coming to the geographical range in the form of the either V1 means extent of occurrence, and or V2. V2 is the area of occupancy. So if you see these three, then we will find, let's see, if extent of occurrence of the of a population is lesser than 100 kilometer square area, then it will come under the critical endanger. If its area is less than 5,000 kilometer square, then come under the endangered. And if its area is lesser than 20,000 kilometer square, then it will come under the vulnerable category. And if you see the area of occupancy, then we will reduce them. lesser than 2000 kilometer square in case of the vulnerable, 5000 less than 500 kilometer square in the endangered, and less than 10 kilometer square in the in case of the critically endangered. Means 10 times lesser. So extent of the occurrence is the 10 times higher as compared to the area of occupancy. Okay. So these are the B1 and at least two of the following three conditions. Any of two, if they are comes under fulfill these categories, then they will be called as these critically endangered or extinct or vulnerable. Now, what are these? Severely fragmented or number of locations are, if it is only one, then it will come under the critical endangered. Five or lesser, then will come under the endangered, and 10 or lesser, then it will come under the vulnerable condition. Or second is saying that continuing decline observed, okay, estimated, inferred, or projected in any of, whether it is extent of occurrence, whether it is the area of occupancy, or whether it is the area of extent or quality of the habitat, or in the number of locations or subpopulations, or finally the number of mature individuals. So if any of this area or number of the mature individuals, number of locations, populations, extent or quality habitats, okay, number of occupancy, area of occupancy, extent of occupancy, if any of one it of these is continually declining or showing the decline, or just estimated or projected that they are declining, so we can also consider this one. Extreme fluctuation in any of extent of the species, area of occupancy, number of locations of the population, and number of mature individuals. Okay, so these are also comes under this one as well. Okay, so if any of these are showing these number, okay, then we can consider the geographical range for a based uh, category like the criteria endangered, and vulnerable. Next, C. C is about the small population size and decline. So if you see the C point, then we can understand that number of the mature individuals, as we talked earlier in the geographic trends, okay, in the B criteria. So number of mature individuals are lesser than 250, then they are the critical endangered. Lesser than 2500, then they are endangered. Lesser than 10,000, then they are vulnerable. And at least one of the C1 or C2. So C1 is saying that an observed, estimated, or projected continuing decline of at least up to maximum of 100 years in future. So we are just calculating and seeing or estimating that they are showing the decline, continual decline or not. They will show continuous decline around the 25% in 3 years or one generation. So whichever is the longer will be considered, and if it is seen, then it will comes under the critical endangered category, or its risk is the or continuous decline is found only 20%, okay, or just estimated 20% in the 5 years or two generations. So whichever is the longer will come under the endangered, and 10% to 10 years or three generations, then it will come under the vulnerable. Next, an observed, estimated, or projected, or inferred continuing decline and at least one of the following three conditions. So what are these conditions? Number of the mature individuals in each subpopulation. are lesser than 50, lesser than 50 or less, 250 or less, 1000 or less. So if 50 or less, then critical endangered, 250 or less, then endangered, 1000 and less, then vulnerable. Percent of the mature individuals in one subpopulation. Okay, so it is one is talking about the each subpopulation, and per second is talking about the one subpopulation. Out of them, only one. So if we calculate any one, then we will see that 90 to 100% of the mature individuals in one subpopulation are seen or are found, observed, estimated, or projected, or inferred continuing decline. Okay, at least one of the these conditions. So one is the this percentage of the mature individuals in one subpopulation. So 90% or 90 to 100% uh, mature individuals are found, then critical endangered, 95 to 100 then endangered, and 100 then the vulnerable. Extreme fluctuation in the number of mature individuals. So if it is also seen extreme fluctuations, sometimes they are increasing, sometimes they are decreasing, and this kind of fluctuations of the number of mature individuals. We are talking about the mature individuals because criteria C is related to the number of mature individuals. Okay, so small population size is also helpful to counting that they are uh, going to be under threatened condition or not. Okay, if they are under the threatened condition, then we have to uh, use the precautionary measure to safeguard them. Next, very small or restricted population. Okay, so let's see this D. Very small or restricted population. Here we will see the number of mature individuals as we have seen the criteria C as well, but where we had seen the number as well as percentage in each or in one subpopulation. Okay, but here we are talking about the very small or restricted population, and then we are calculating the number of mature individuals. Okay, so if number of mature individuals are 50 or less, then critically endangered. Number of mature individuals in the two lesser than 250 then endangered, and lesser than 1000 is vulnerable. Same as in the criteria B, which we had seen above, 50 or less critical, 250 or less vulnerable, sorry, endangered, and 1000 or less means vulnerable. So same criteria is also using for the very small or restricted population as well in the criteria D. Now only applies to the VU category. So VU category is means vulnerable category. Okay. So this D2 is only applicable to vulnerable. Endangered and critical endangered are not uh, using this criteria. Using not this criteria. Okay. So restricted area of the occupancy and number of locations with a plausible future threat that could drive the taxon to critically endangered or extinct in a very short. If it is seen, then we place that species to vulnerable. Means its extinction or its critically endangered condition might be seen in the future, and its rate is the higher uh, towards going to these two categories. So this will becomes under the vulnerable condition. So typically AAO is lesser than 20 kilometers 20 kilometers square, or number of locations are 5 or less. So we will say that it could drive the taxon to the critical endangered or extinct in the very short time in the near plausible future. Okay. Next is the quantitative analysis. Quantitative analysis is the indicating the probability of extinction in the wild food. So we are just calculating the probability of extinction in the wild, not talking about the pet. Okay. So in the wild, critically endangered category will be applicable whenever 50% or more in the 10 years or 3 generations, whichever is the longer. Okay. And 100 years is maximum, not more than 100 years. Sometimes some animal species is living for the more than 100 years, then we will calculate for 10 years. Otherwise, we will calculate the 3 generations. So whichever is suitable according to the conditions. Next, endangered. So in the endangered, 20% or more in the 20 years or 5 generations, whichever is the longer, and 100 year is the maximum. Vulnerable, 10% or more in the 100 years. So these are the probability text or probability we are just indicating of the probability of the extinction in the wild. Okay, and it means in the wild area or in the forest. Okay, so where how it would be possible. So we are just take the quantitative measurements or quantitative estimates, and then we are found. Okay, so use of this summary sheet requires full understanding of the IUCN Red List categories and criteria and guidelines for the using the IUCN Red List categories and criteria. Please refer to both documents for explanation of terms and concepts used here. So I have used this document from, I have downloaded this document from the IUCN Red, IUCN Red List of website. Okay, so this is an original and authentic document of the IUCN. So I recommend you to please go through this one, read all the parts clearly. Now, coming to the questions. If any question is asked in an exam, so generally what is happening, then you are reading from the Wikipedia and another sources, and you are reading that okay, they are under the threat condition. They are uh, most of number of species are reduced, and these kind of the vague words are written there. So please be aware and write the exact situations what is happening. Okay, so you can, if you are not able to remember and write all these points, then please write the what is happening. So write the 5 criteria. Okay, sorry, 5 categories, and then uh, sorry, criteria, 5 criteria. First is population size reduction. Second, geographical trends in the form of uh, either extent of occurrence and or area of occupancy. Third, small population size and decline. Fifth, fourth, very small or restricted population, and fifth is the quantitative analysis. And then write the things accordingly. Okay, so I'm just suggesting that how you can write. So draw a table in this way. Here write the criteria. Here write the critically endangered, endangered, okay, and vulnerable. Now write these things. First, population size reduction. Second, geographical range. Okay. Third, small population. Okay. Fourth, restricted area. Fifth, quantitative measure. Okay. And then write their number. Okay. So here write the under these two things are happening. Okay. So right here, first is the about the can be reversible, okay, and cannot be reversible. So can be reversible more than means it's a population size reduction. Okay, so can be reversible means more than or uh, 9 equal to 90%. Okay, in the critical endangered 70% or more, endangered 50% or more in the vulnerable. Similarly, right here cannot be uh, reduced or cannot be reversible or cannot be understood. Okay, so in this right here, 80%, 50%, 50%. Okay, now right here geographical features. So right here area of occupancy or extent of occurrence. Okay, and then right here accordingly. Okay, so what will happen? Everything you will consider in the very basic manner and very perfectly written. Okay, so area of occurrence less than 10 kilometer square, less than 500 kilometer square, less than 2000 kilometer square. Similarly, extent of the occurrence less than the 100 kilometer square, less than 5000 kilometer square, less than 20,000 kilometer square. Okay, similarly small population size, if you are adding, then write here the number of mature individuals. Okay, and write here the numbers lesser than 250, lesser than 2500, lesser than 10,000. Okay, similarly in the D. Okay, so right here in the D. Okay, so in the right here the D, very small or restricted population. So right here the number of the mature individuals, and right here similar things, two, sorry, 50, 250 and 1000. So less than 1000, less than 250 and less than 50. Okay, now one more thing right here, that uh, could drive to, sorry, right here could drive to CR or EX in very short time in the vulnerable category. Okay, and the last is the quantitative. Okay, so right here in the quantitative assay, quantitative analysis. So right here, these the all things. Okay, so it will be very easy to understand and very easy to remember. Okay, so less than 50% in 10 years or 3 generations, less than 20% in 20 years or 5 generations. Okay, less than or is equal to 10% in 100 years. So this is the complete. So you can write answer in this way. Okay, so this is the basic thing. So you have written here the criteria as well as categories. So in this way, you have written the criteria here from 1 to 4. Sorry, these are A, B, C, D, and E. And here you have written the categories. Okay, so these are the category C, R, E, and B, and these are the criterias. Okay, so 5 criterias, and these 3 are the categories. So right here the threatened categories. Okay, so these are the threatened categories. Now see again the PPT where we were discussing all these things. Okay, and you will understand that how we we have talked all these things. Let's see. So see here, these were the threatened categories, right? So we have talked three categories. Okay. So actually, these are the main important categories, and red list is generating for this one. Not only these, although these all things are comes under the red list. Okay, extinct, extinct, wild, and all. But main focus is to safeguard to the threatened categories. So these are threatened. So I hope I have cleared everything in the uh, criteria and categories. What is the IUCN? What is the red data book or red data list? Okay. So thank you.